Okay, doctor. The doctor, this is my presentation now. So firstly, I want to begin with the introduction part. As we already know that Industrial 4.0 bring numerous advantages to the manufacturing sectors, significantly enhance the production efficiency through the intelligent manufacturing system. However, one critical aspect that has been overlooked is the presence of a large number of small and medium-sized enterprises in China. These enterprises often cannot afford the cost associated with transmit to the intelligent manufacturing. The high expense of sensors and systems greatly slow down the pace of smart greetings. Therefore, upgrading existing machine tools is particularly important for Industrial 4.0. So how do we do that? Firstly, I analyze the X, Y axis of machine tools by install sensors to monitor the distance of X, Y axes. We can prevent dangerous accidents and store history data to train large modules. Additionally, temperature and humidity sensors will be installed to monitor the operation condition of the machine tools, preventing overheating and excessive humidities. Then move to our overview part. The flowchart provides a clear view of how input signals from various sensors like temperature, humidity, Y distance, and exit distances are all processed by Arduino UNO R3 board and then analyzed using software like Arduino IDEs. Last but not least, using the MATLAB to develop our own app. Then I want to introduce the Arduino UNO. Arduino UNO is an open source electronic phototyping platform based on the 80 mega 328p microcontroller. The Arduino UNO R3 is one of the most popular widely used board in the Arduino families. It's very suitable for beginners and it's very cheap. The Arduino UNO R3 is programmed using Arduino programming language based on C and C++ and the Arduino IDE. Also, this is the sensor that I have used. The first is DH11 to extract the humidity and the temperature data. The other one is HCSR04. This sensor is to detect the Y distance, and infrared sensors is also for the X distance. Also, there are some other items that I have used in this design. It's like OLED, bazaar, and red. I use Arduino IDE to programming this Arduino UNO R3 board. I also use the serial monitors and the serial plot functions to display my data. Okay, let's move on to the next part. Arduino programming flowchart. In this part, I want to display my equipment. Firstly, I want to introduce this flowchart. After we get started, we initially the sensors and collect the sensor data in main loops After that, move to the filter functions. We remove the higher frequency displacement data. After that, I begin to check the DHT data validity, then adjust the distance after filtering according to the current temperature and humidity. Then I check the bizarre condition, if it trigger or not. After that, output the data to the serial port. The OLED display the temperature and humidity and distance data. That's all the flowchart logic. So let's move on to my equipment. Okay, dear doctors, as I mentioned in my flowchart, this is my equipment. There are three types of sensors. One is infrared, it detects the X distance. The other one is the ultrasonic sensor. It's used for detect the Y distances. Also for DHT11 is used for detect the temperature and humidity. And the other one is the trigger. It's used for warning. If the trigger detects the distances, for example, like X distances is too closely, they will creep. For example, like that. They will creep. Also, I also set for another condition. Like if I increase the humidity, they also creep. You can see that when the humidity exceeds the 98%, they will also creep. Also, temperature is the same now. After they detect the temperature exceeded to 40 Celsius, they will also creep. That's all my equipment. Last but not least, the OLED is display the time, temper, humidity, and XY distances. That's all my equipment. Also, I have mentioned before that we can use the Arduino IDE to detect the data, to display the data. We can use the serial monitor to see the data or the conditional or bizarre. We can also use the serial plot to see the raw distance and adjusted distance. You can see that. As we already know that the raw distances and the adjusted distances is influenced by the temperature and the humidity. For example, if I increase the temperatures, you can see the line will change. So you can see that the value have been changing more or less. Flowchart part of the APP design. The entire APP design flowchart can be divided into four main modules. The first module is about obtain the port information. The second module is checking the port status and reading data from the port. And the final module is display the data And also the displacement data will plot using join tools. And then finally, the port will be closed and ending the process. Next, okay, let's moving on to app design. So first, we can divide my app into two parts. The first part is the function part. Second part is the data display part. So as you can see that the choose can drop down menus for selecting compose. If I click the select search comps, they will list all available comps in my computers. After I choosing one of each of comps, the program will automatically storage the comp that I chose before. Then I open the comps, they will directly open the comp that I chose. So the light will turn to be green. Also, the second part is about data display for temperature, humidity, x distance, and y distance. Give you an example. I just need to click the running button. So as I said before that the choose comes when I click the search comes, they will list all available comps in my computers. But in my computer, I only have one available comps, comp7, so I click it. So the program storage the comp that I choose. I just need to open the comp, it will open the comp7. Okay, so you can see that the data will change automatically, especially for the y distance plus with 10 light charge line. You can see that as the 10 increased, the value of x axis will also increase automatically. So it's same for the y-axis. So how I can do that? Next part I will say some details about this code. That's all my app's function. Thank you for listening. Okay, let's move on to the code detail. Firstly, we define different properties for private properties that we can use in this whole app. The next step is about, as I mentioned before, get the comps information, which is the name of the comps. We just need to use the get compose function to get all the names of the port listed in your computers. Then we define the port use to store the port that you chose before. The next one is initially the serial port object. The baud rate is 9600. Okay, let's move on to the open comp button. So as I mentioned before, if I click the open comp button, run into decision part, whether the comp status is closed or open. Then I moving on to the data processing. So firstly, we define receive data to store the received data. Otherwise, mentioned before that the data sent by the port is 5 columns, so we need to divide them into different parts and assign them into different uh, arrays like that. Received, finish the data assigned. Then we move on to display the data. It's very easy because we just need to assign the value of this data to the label text, the different label text to display them. After displays humidity, temperature, and gauge values, so we move on to the line chart drawing. Right. Before we do line chart drawing, we should to define time data and distance data array to store the time and the distance data. Why? Because the data fed by the port is continuous and single, so we need to do that. Then we can plot it. As I mentioned before that, we should to do some adjustment. As you can see from previous example, the 10 the x, which is the x value, increased. The x-axis increased dynamically accordingly. So we just need to define the x limit to realize it. It's same for the y-axis. Okay, after we do that, we should to remember close the comps. That's all the details of the code. Thank you for your listening.